Hello YouTube, welcome to the new SYNTH anatomy video. It's finally here, the Arturia Keystep Pro. The Pro version or the big brother of the Arturia Keystep MIDI sequencer. My unit is a bit delayed, but now it's finally here. It arrived around 1 hour ago. And you probably saw a lot of different videos, 10, 20 or 50. I know this and I decided to release another video. So I will unbox it with you for the first time, and then I will switch to the NAMM show where I interview Sebastien Rochard, the maker of the Keystep Pro, also the designer, and I interview him at the NAMM show and I ask him some questions, so maybe this is also an important part of this new product. Let's start now with unboxing. I'm very happy that it's finally here. You see, the box is Arturia Keystep Pro. On the left side we have a classic USB cable, which we know. Then we have power supply, 3 different adapters or even 4, so for UK, for US, Asia and Europe. And here's the device. And here's the Keystep Pro, heavier than expected. You have USB cable, as we saw already, and a power supply. No CV cables, a bit shame, because it's a device of 400 euro. So it would be cool to have some CV cables in the package. That's not now a problem or an issue. What we can see is, of course, the Keystep from the keyboard we know from the Keystep. It's super nice, in my opinion. It's great for playing. Then we have here 16 steps. We have 5 knobs: pitch, gate, velocity, time shift and randomness. We have here on the left side wheels. They're not real wheels, but these touch wheels. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but better this than nothing. Then you have here also time divisions. Several displays, and each track is divided in different colors, so green, orange, yellow and red. And yeah, on the back side, or here you have USB, sustain, metronome output, the metronome level, then full MIDI, that's amazing, MIDI in, MIDI out and MIDI outs too, so we have 2 MIDI outs. What is pretty nice, because I really don't love these DIN cables for such controllers. Then you have clock in, clock out and a reset. Drum gates, because you can use the Keystep Pro also as a drum machine. So you have 8 drum gates here. Then you have 4 voices for gate, velocity mod and pitch. So you can play 4 monosynths or 2 monosynths and 1 duophonic, or even a polysynth with 4 voices via CV and gate. But if you have now MIDI, for example, you can also play more voices, so like on a software or an hardware synth. Because that's important to know, the Keystep Pro is not just made for hardware, but also for software products, what is nice. At first look, it's a nice device. It's heavier than expected. It's not so light, maybe a little issue for the transport, but we'll see this. And compared to the Keystep, traditional Keystep, it's quite big. From the playing experience, it's the same, and it's like to having 4 Keysteps in one unit. I hope you enjoyed this little overview and unboxing, and now to the NAMM show.
NAMM 2020, I'm here on the booth of Arturia with Sebastien. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, it's the first day. Don't ask me the 4th day on Sunday.
Yeah.
You are the product manager of Arturia, right? What is your role as product manager? Are you the designer, or because there are many products and I know a bit that you are part of the development of these products?
So we're 5 product managers now at Arturia. Kind of broken down into audio, hardware, synthesizers, MIDI controllers, and analog lab, V collection, and so yeah. What I do when like for instance I design Keystep Pro, and what I do is like we start from some rules that we set, like okay, we want this instrument to be in the step range, to be a bigger keystep, to have kind of the functionality that you would have on Keystep Pro, but you know, improved for the keyboard interface. We're looking for that kind of price range, final price range, and from there my job is to define the instrument, to figure out what is the best, you know, what functionalities we want to have, how to implement them on the instrument, how to lay out the front panel, what connectivity do we want. So kind of imagine how the instrument should be and give that as a guideline for the developers who are then going to actually produce the instrument. So I do a mock-up, like how it's supposed to look in general, but I don't make it beautiful. We have people, especially Axel Hartmann is our primary designer for hardware. He takes my mock-ups and he turns them into products that are beautiful, you know, and then we develop the instrument. Yeah, that's what I do.
So you are also the man behind Microfreak, of also the analogs, things like the Mini Brute, or are you also there?
Yeah. The Mini Brute 2, Microfreak in some part. We did it with 2 persons, Glenn Darcy and myself, and Pigments as well, and some other instruments. Yeah.
Okay. And my question is always, because we see these products always on NAMM show or Superbooth or so, or Musikmesse if there's still a Musikmesse. How long does it take to developing something like this? Does it 1 year, 2 year, or?
It depends. I would say like simple hardware instruments take like 9 months to a year, something like that, and instruments that are more complex with a lot of interface or a lot of analog or things like that can take between 1.5 years and 3 years, something like that, roughly.
We are before here probably the most wanted product in electronic music since several years. I only see on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, we need a Keystep Pro.
Yeah.
Why it takes so long? Because the Keystep is already how long on the market? 4 years? 3, 4 years?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years. But you know, we actually started it quite a while ago. But like we just said, these kind of instruments take time, and also just doing other things. We did other instruments. You know, finding out the best way to organize the team, which new instruments we want to make. Keystep is doing great. Keystep Pro is doing great. You know, there's people were asking for it, but you know, now is the right time to deliver it.
It's good to see it, that you react to the comments of your customers. And can you give me a little overview of the Keystep Pro? How much difference is there, are there 4 Keysteps in one? Or how would you describe it? It's more than this.
It's a lot more than 4 keysteps. The common ground is that these are step sequencers and controllers. So this is kind of the defining common factor of the step range. As a controller, Keystep Pro is quite advanced with three full octaves of keys. Keystep only had 2.5. So 3 full octaves with velocity and aftertouch, has some MIDI output. You have the 5 knobs on the interface can send some CCs, so it can be used as a MIDI controller. And you also have some CV outputs. You have a lot more CV output than you had on a Keystep, with 4 tracks of pitch, velocity, and gate that you can either route to each of the 4 tracks of the instrument or do polyphonic CV if you want. 8 drum gate outputs, 2 MIDI outputs, a MIDI input, clock in and out. So it's quite advanced as a controller, and where it really shines is as a sequencer. Because you get 4 tracks. Keystep had 1 track, it was polyphonic with 6 voices, and this one has 4 tracks, each one is 16 voices of polyphony. Still 64 steps. Major difference is having the step button so you can edit the way you could on Keystep Pro. You know, having direct control so you can go back to a step, change the notes in it, select some of the notes, change their gate length, change the velocity, the time shift with the 5 encoders with LED rings on the unit. There's also a drum sequencer on the first track with 24 part of drum sequencing with polyrhythm. So more like I select a drum track, edit my either return record or edit my pattern for my kick drum, then move to a snare drum, like you would do on a drum root, for instance.
So you can do this. Can you do the same thing as on the Keystep Pro?
Yeah, the drum sequencer is well, it has a gate length, time shift for each step. You have random trig per step. You have 24 tracks. So and polyrhythm. So it's the drum sequencer is quite similar to what you would find on Keystep Pro. It's really on the melodic sequences that the difference arises a lot. Yeah.
I saw now you built in the best known keys from your mini lab and from the Keystep already. I saw already many comments on social media. Some guys wrote we want full-size keys. How comes the decision to put in these keys and not now putting it bigger and making full size? Is for the portability or?
I mean, it's always a debate until the end, and when you choose an option, some people don't like it and some people do. You know, so we asked a lot of people, and what seemed to be the most appreciated format was 3 full octaves of slim keys. So we settled with that, but there will always be people who want a different option, you know, and that's the reason why, you know, many keyboards come out in 49, 61, 88 keys. It's just that it's nice to leave the options open. On this one, the form factor, the capacity is important. You know, it's nice to be able to carry it on stage. If people who enjoy modular gear, you know, and have a lot of small compact units, having something quite compact also made a lot of sense. So it was a decision. I don't know. It's clearly not planned to do a full-size version for now. But
it's like the question: is there a black version? That's the same question every customers ask. Yeah. I want the black version, but I don't want the white version. So
I don't think we'll do a black version before a long time. It's not planned at all. Yeah.
There's still the mod wheels. They're the same as in the Keystep, or they are improved?
They're I think it's the same technology, but with some LEDs that show you the position.
That's nice, because I have sometimes the troubles to find where is my mod wheel, and with it, that's a clever addition. There are also knobs on it.
Yeah.
Are there more mappings on it, or just one layer?
So the knobs, you have 5 knobs that can send some CCs, and you can write CC sequences. You can automate the value of CCs. And otherwise, as a sequencer, they control the pitch, the gate length, the velocity, time shift, and randomness per note. Okay. That's what they do. Yeah. So but you can remap the CCs directly on the unit to assign it to different things. Yeah.
And you color coded the different sequences. And so you have for each sequence what kind of controls?
So for each sequence you have some previous and next buttons to select the patterns. You can switch between sequencer and drum, or sequencer and arpeggiator. You can mute the tracks. When you have notes that are playing, you'll see the triggers. Okay. You can select the tracks for editing. So yeah, selecting the track, setting some mute. When I have some activity on a step, it's going to trigger the notes to show you that I have notes playing. I can navigate in the patterns using that. The display shows me which pattern I'm currently playing.
And I saw you have improved or something. Your knobs have now LED strips.
Yeah, on this one, yeah. It makes a lot of sense, especially like if I want to edit these steps, for instance, let's say I have 4 notes in it. So this step has 4 notes. I move to the next one. It has different notes. You can see the LEDs above the key show you which notes are in which step. So I move to this tab. Let's say I want to edit this note. I can set the gate length over here. I can transpose it. See, it's moving up or down. Transpose it, change the velocity. I can select like a group of notes, transpose all of them at the same time. So you know, that's kind of the beauty of this interface with the steps and the keys with LEDs is, okay, I have notes. I can see what notes I have in my step without having to use the display. It's directly on the keyboard. And then I select, like, I want my A note to be a lot longer, so just select it and then turn the gate knob. You know, okay. So very intuitive for deep editing of steps. But otherwise, the main functionality is either just I enter notes one after the others, or chords like you would do on Keystep, and anytime I write and release the keys, it moves to the next step, or do some real-time recording and just add some notes with in real time.
But it's a control station not just for hardware but also for software, right? It's equally usable.
Yeah, definitely. It has 2 MIDI outputs and CV, so it's it makes a lot of sense for people who have a lot of outboard gear. But I think there's a pleasure in playing with sequences, not just writing something and having it static, but actually transforming it, modifying a step, moving around, randomizing, changing the length, all of that stuff that also makes sense in a DAW. Just load your tracks, create a drum pattern, build a beat, move to the bass, write a bass track, edit the notes directly on Keystep Pro. It's very nice, and when you like what you have, just record everything in the DAW, and now it's printed in MIDI. Yeah.
I see you love your job.
I love my job.
Yeah, your job and making such devices.
Yes, sir.
Big thanks, Sebastien, for this interview. I wish you good luck for this NAMM Show 2020. A good voice until Sunday.
Not sure.
Not enough, not too much party, and celebrate this release. Big thanks for watching, and leave in the comments below if you have some questions. I will try then to answer them as usual. Big thanks for watching, and hope to see you very soon in one of the next videos. Bye.